We live in a society where relationships are often seen not just as important, but as essential to living a fulfilling life. From the moment we're young, we're bombarded with messages that equate love with salvation. Fairy tales tell us that a prince or princess will come and change everything. Movies and songs repeat the same theme over and over again. Love will complete you. Love will fix your broken heart. Love is all you need. And when we grow up, those messages don't stop. They just become more subtle, more embedded in our culture. People start asking, "So when are you settling down?" Or they comment, "You're too picky. That's why you're still single." These comments, though often well-meaning, create a powerful undercurrent of social pressure. They suggest that being alone is somehow a failure, that a life without a partner is incomplete. This pressure leads many people to enter relationships not out of genuine desire, but out of a fear of being alone, or a need to meet expectations set by others. They may settle for connections that don't truly fulfill them, just to avoid the discomfort of solitude. And then there are the cultural myths that reinforce this pattern. We hear about soulmates and the idea that we need to find our other half. It's a beautiful narrative, but it's also dangerous. It tells us that we are not whole on our own, that we need someone else to make us complete. And when we internalize that idea, we start to believe that being single is a flaw rather than a phase or even a choice. But the truth is this: no relationship, no matter how loving or passionate, can fill the emptiness we feel if we haven't first learned to be at peace with ourselves. Carl Jung understood this deeply. He believed that the path to becoming whole begins with turning inward. He talked about the process of individuation, of discovering the full range of who we are, beyond our roles, our masks, and the expectations others place on us. And that kind of work doesn't happen in the noise of a crowded life. It happens in solitude, in quiet reflection, in those uncomfortable but necessary moments when we're forced to confront who we really are. Choosing to be alone, even for a while, is a powerful act. It's not about rejecting love or isolating yourself from the world. It's about reclaiming your own story. It's about stepping outside the script that's been written for you and asking yourself what you truly want. When we're alone, we begin to hear our own voice again, the one that gets drowned out when we're constantly wrapped up in someone else's needs, moods, and rhythms. We discover what lights us up, what drives us, and what we value most deeply. And we begin to build a life that reflects that inner truth. That's the gift of solitude. It offers a space to grow, to heal, and to rediscover yourself without the distortion of external expectations. It's a time when you can finally listen to your instincts, your passions, your unfiltered thoughts. Maybe you start painting again, or you travel somewhere you've always wanted to go. Maybe you spend your mornings journaling, meditating, or simply sitting in silence. These aren't just hobbies. They're acts of self-discovery. They're ways of reconnecting with the parts of yourself that might have been neglected or suppressed in past relationships. And as you do this inner work, something else begins to happen. You start building confidence, not the kind that depends on compliments or validation from others, but a deeper kind, a quiet certainty in who you are. This self-trust becomes the foundation for every future relationship. Because when you know your worth, you stop settling. When you're at peace with yourself, you stop fearing solitude. And when you truly like who you are on your own, you stop looking for someone to fix you or make you feel whole. So contrary to what we're often taught, being alone isn't a weakness, it's a strength. It's an invitation to turn inward and do the work that really matters. And for many people, it becomes a transformative chapter, one that, while sometimes uncomfortable, leads to more authentic love, deeper connections, and a richer life. As we spend time alone and begin to pull away from the roles and expectations we've been conditioned to fulfill, something profound begins to happen. We start to shed the fear of judgment that often comes with being in a relationship. There's no one to impress, no pressure to behave a certain way or meet someone else's expectations. And in that space, passions we had forgotten about begin to resurface. Skills we never gave ourselves the time or permission to explore begin to blossom. And perhaps most importantly, clarity returns. Clarity about what we truly want from life, from love, from ourselves. This transformation doesn't stop at the personal level. When we genuinely learn to love ourselves, not just in theory, but in practice, we become capable of a different kind of love for others. One that isn't dependent, one that doesn't come with strings attached or silent demands. We no longer look to others to fill the void inside us. Instead, we share ourselves from a place of fullness. That's when relationships stop being about completing each other and become about complementing each other. This is why solitude, far from being a lonely or empty experience, becomes a sacred ground for future relationships. When you've taken the time to know who you are, to accept your past, and to cultivate your purpose, you naturally raise the quality of the connections you attract. You no longer choose out of fear or neediness, but out of a genuine resonance. You meet others not as someone looking to be rescued, but as someone offering presence, peace, and maturity. Being alone doesn't mean you're lacking. It means for a season, or even a lifetime, you've made the courageous choice to invest in your own evolution. It's a deliberate act of self-respect. It's a bold decision to turn inward in a world that constantly pushes us outward. And no, it's not a rejection of love. It's a reaffirmation of your own value. It's the recognition that the most powerful, lasting love begins with you. That until you've learned to fully be with yourself, you're never truly ready to be with someone else. So maybe now is the time to ask a deeper question. Am I really ready to love someone else? Or do I first need to learn how to fully love myself? Am I searching for a relationship to escape something within me? Or am I building a relationship with myself strong enough to handle the truth of who I am? If that question stirs something in you, if it makes you pause or reflect, it might be a sign that you're standing at the edge of a deeper journey, one that Carl Jung explored in depth throughout his work. His writings, like The Archetypes and the Collective Unconscious, or the intense symbolic explorations in the Red Book, offer powerful insights for those who want to go beyond the surface and into the real work of self-discovery. Jung didn't offer easy answers. He invited us into a lifelong dialogue with our inner world. And through that dialogue, we don't just change, we transform. The journey of individuation that Jung spoke of is not about becoming someone new. It's about uncovering the person you've always been beneath the layers of expectation, fear, and conditioning. It's about looking inward with honesty and compassion, recognizing the parts of yourself you've hidden, repressed, or ignored, and welcoming them back into the whole. This journey can be challenging. At times it feels lonely, disorienting, or even painful. But what's on the other side is something far more valuable than comfort. It's freedom. The freedom to live authentically, to love without fear, to create without needing approval, and ultimately, to connect with others from a place of real integrity. Solitude gives us a rare opportunity to confront ourselves without distraction. When we're no longer consumed by the demands of a relationship or the pressure to conform, we begin to hear our own inner voice again. Clearer, stronger, more honest. We can ask ourselves big questions and actually sit with the answers. What do I really want? What do I believe in? What brings me meaning? These aren't questions we can answer in a rush or through someone else. They require time, they require silence, and they require courage. As this process unfolds, we start to notice subtle shifts. Our self-talk becomes kinder. Our decisions become more aligned. The people we choose to surround ourselves with reflect a new sense of self-worth. We stop engaging in relationships out of fear of being alone and start seeking ones that feel expansive, supportive, and true. And when we do enter a new relationship, it's not because we need it, but because we genuinely want to share who we are, with all our flaws, dreams, and complexities. There's no longer a desperate need to be completed because we already feel whole. This is what makes the work of individuation so powerful. It doesn't just change your relationship with yourself, it changes your relationship with the entire world. You become more grounded, you become more present, and you begin to live, not just exist. The most beautiful part is that this journey doesn't require any external validation. You don't need anyone's permission to start. It begins the moment you decide that your inner life matters, that your growth, your healing, and your truth are worth prioritizing. So if this message speaks to something deep inside you, don't ignore it. Maybe this is your sign to take that first step, toward stillness, toward self-exploration, toward the kind of solitude that transforms. Read Jung, reflect on his insights, or simply begin with silence. Turn off the noise for a while and listen to yourself. Because when you do, you might just find that everything you've been searching for outside of you has been within you all along.